So I'm back to this self-build in Bridge of Allan, central Scotland. So we'll just have a look inside and see what progress there has been since my last visit here. I can see here this is a render board that's actually been used. Part of the building is actually going to be clad with render board. Some of it has got timber and some is brickwork or blockwork as well. So there's them obviously been cutting their bench here. Now you can see on this particular elevation, this is where the render board has been fitted, and then eventually that will actually be rendered with it's a K-rend that's actually being used. So what they've done is they've boarded the framed out from the timber frame, as you can see there, before the render board has actually has actually been fitted. So that will give a really sharp finish to externally. Now as we move into the building, you can see the last time there was just the concrete screed. Now in actual fact, the underfloor heating has now been laid, and this self-leveling screed, as you can see here, beautiful finish, lovely and smooth. And the underfloor heating pipes are actually underneath that. Now this is the plant room, and you'll see there's the manifold, so that's where all the central heating, underfloor heating pipes come up, and then in here there will be all the controls, and then there's an air source heat pump that's actually going to be used, and there's going to be solar thermal on the roof and batteries as well. So yeah, it's looking good. Just have a wander around just to show you the rest of the floor, but it's a very nice finish. You'll see at the perimeter there, that blue strip, that's just really almost like an expansion, and that allows for any expansion, so it doesn't actually start putting pressure onto the timber frame at all. And it's obviously a nice finish just for finishing the screed onto as well. But you'll see that all around all the load-bearing partitions and any pop-ups for the services pipes. Some of the windows at my last visit, I think, they hadn't actually arrived on site, but they've all arrived on site now, and this is a kind of window that goes kind of 2 stories. I don't know if you can see that, but it goes right up into the upper floor there. So that's now been fitted, and a few of the other windows that didn't arrive on the original delivery have now been supplied. And what Mark, the owner or the builder of this one, the self-builder, they've actually left out a kind of panel, because that's the window there that fits into that opening there. But what they've done is they've left off the kind of bottom panel of timber frame to form an access, which will make it an awful lot easier for getting plasterboard and other materials into the house. So we'll have a wander around to the front here. See the scaffolding's all in place there, and again you can see all the linings, all the framing ready for the render board to be put on. So there's a fair bit of work involved in that, as you can see. So it's almost like a second timber frame on the outside. That's the master bedroom. Big, lovely big window which will catch the east sun in the mornings. So again, I think since the last time I was here, I think the roof has pretty much been completed. There will still be a bit of work until such time as the render boards right up to the parapet. We won't actually manage to finish the roof, but yeah, see it There we've got one other, just again just to show you the framing ready for the render board. Yeah, this is me up at roof level now, so you can see the roof pretty much all been done. There's a roof light there, it's still got to be fitted, and then the detailing at the parapet heel here can't really be done until the render board's up, and then they'll be able to put a flashing hout over the top of that to make sure that there's no water getting in there and it discharges. It all slopes towards the back. Can't particularly see it, but if you notice at the end there, you'll see the way it actually tapers from the front of the building on the left, and you'll see the parapet on the back right hand corner how much deeper, so it's difficult to see when there is a fair slope on the roof. I think it's somewhere in the region of about 3 degrees. So yeah, up at this level I'll just kind of show you the kind of view that you've got from up here, and then the back of the building, it's all trees, and there's also a bit of ground down to the side there. So yeah, it's progressing well, and I think the next stage would be, I think the proposal is to get the rendering board done this week, and maybe next week get the actual render done. Okay, that's all for just now. Stack has been substantially reduced. A lot of the render board has been fitted onto the house, and indeed has actually received its first coat of render, as you can see here. So you'll note that that's the first coat, and there's another coat to go in, which will be the kind of finishing coat. And you'll notice the reinforcing at the openings there, and that is on a fair bit of the external leaf of the actual building. So we'll go just round the side here. So there you can see some of the edging actually there. And something I'd just like to highlight here, you'll notice that the client, Mark, has actually protected a big 6-metre sliding patio door there, triple glazed. So he's rightly, that's been protected with insulation boards on a temporary basis, because it would be pretty disastrous if any of that panes were to be broken by something falling against the glass. So, you know, that's the sort of thing you've got to be thinking of. Try and protect high value items as best you possibly can. The part of the external finish on this house is some timber linings. So again, you will see that all the framing is in there ready for the timber lining, so that will provide a good contrast between the finished render and the timber cladding which is going on part of it. I'd just like to highlight, we have a wee apprentice on site today. Look at that little cutie there. A West Highland Terrier. That was a wee surprise I got when I went up to the first floor. Now internally here, you'll see the OSB board with the gaps there. That was actually the floor cassettes, and now the actual chipboard flooring is actually being laid. T&G chipboard flooring, 22mm moisture resistant, so it will guard against, if there's any water on it, it won't immediately blow up. Another thing I'd like to highlight is that you see at the bottom here, you have the way the membrane, see the way the membrane actually comes onto the floor. And the idea is when the flooring's up against that, that stops any uncontrolled ventilation or draft, so that makes the building more airtight. And similarly so at the junction of the walls and ceiling, exactly the same. So this membrane, vapor control there, will be tacked up onto the joist like that, and then the plaster will be fitted, so that makes sure that there is no heat loss at that particular point there due to drafts. And again, you'll note the void between the JGI joist there and the external have all been filled with fiberglass insulation, so there's not a kind of cold bridging situation there. Again, you'll see that's the partitions lying there just waiting to be erected. But the non-load bearing partitions, what they'll do is they'll do the ceiling first, the external walls, and then they'll erect the non-load bearing partitions and then plasterboard that, because it saves them having to cut the plasterboard at each room. The other thing I'd just like to highlight is, see across there, that is actually the basis for the photovoltaic panels that will be going on the roof here, because this house basically faces south, so we'll be able to generate a lot of electricity from the photovoltaics, which will help reduce the running costs substantially. And they can be filled with ballast. I don't know if you can see that there, but there's some sand in there, because obviously you don't want them blowing away in a particularly windy day, so there'll be ballast put in there which will hold the photovoltaics in place. And there's some markings on the roof there for various penetrations be coming through. I think that one's from the flue from the fireplace.